It's hard to imagine a more spectacular location to celebrate a wedding than Stanwell Tops, an hour's drive south of Sydney. Only 3 weeks ago, 100 people were invited to watch Jimmy Maggs and Emma Metcalf get married at the beautiful, exclusive Tumbling Waters Retreat. No one at this celebration could have suspected that a guest who'd flown in from America would arrive here with a wedding crasher like no other. That one person walked in with COVID-19. Unwittingly, 39 people left here with the coronavirus. That is just how contagious this disease is. It's an airtight window. We're all happy for Sal to take the mask off so we can hear her properly. Yep. Sally Hawatch was one of those infected guests.
Hi.
This is weird, isn't it?
This is very strange. This is a first for me.
Making it worse, Sally is nearly 8 months pregnant with her third child. That wedding, it's unbelievable how many people got sick there.
It really is. I'm surprised that so many people were infected in such a short period of time. It was really only a small group of people at the wedding. So again, that just shows, how powerful and infectious this virus is and how seriously we all need to take it.
Describe for us when you were at your worst, what the symptoms were.
When I was at my worst, I had shortness of breath. I was actually struggling to breathe.
I mean, when you're struggling to breathe, a doctor says to you, you've got coronavirus. I mean, does, for want of a better term, does your life flash before your eyes?
I was worried about my kids more than anything. I was worried about the baby in my tummy, and I won't know for sure until I do an ultrasound, but no one will see me whilst I have the virus because they don't want me near the maternity ward, obviously.
Hi, so tonight might be our last night before we have our first positive negative.
Sally spent the last 2 weeks in quarantine with her husband and baby girl, who also became infected. She's the daughter of legendary businessman John Singleton. But for Sally, it's the forced separation from her uninfected son that's been the worst.
The hardest part that I'm struggling with right now is being away from my son. I'm missing him terribly. I can't speak with him because he just cries and he doesn't understand why he can't see me.
Just a week ago, Sally was one of the rare, unlucky coronavirus cases in Australia. But by the end of this coming week, projections forecast there will be around 15,000 Australians infected with COVID-19. This is a 1 in 100-year war. And our health system is the front line.
Through your voice box, Marty, so you might have a bit more coughing shot there.
Everyone knows someone bracing for impact. For me, it's my brother Daniel and his wife Emma. Both are doctors at Royal Melbourne Hospital, which leaves me proud, but also worried. Emergency doctor, respiratory doctor, you're kind of in the eye of the storm with this, both of you, aren't you?
Yeah, we kind of realised that a little bit into it. At one point when it was going on, we thought, hold on, this is us, this is lungs, this is emergency. And clearly it's bigger than that, but it did occur to us that we're really both in a role that's right at the front line, I guess.
Are you worried for him?
Yeah. But I think that this is what Em does and what she does well, and I think that she'll be the right person to be at the front line.
You worried for Dan?
Yeah, I don't want Dan to get sick. I just don't. That'd be hard. When this door closes, that door opens, and you're only going in there when you're in full personal protective equipment.
But the reality is that despite all the protective equipment and precautions, some doctors and nurses will get sick. In Europe, more than 10,000 medical professionals have now been infected with coronavirus while treating patients.
It's a hard thing to face for me, just knowing that I might be exposed to something that, you know, I'm aware that can cause severe life-threatening disease even in young people. And there's going to be, unfortunately, death. And that's really confronting.
Are you scared for how bad this could get?
Absolutely. This is a disaster. We're going to see huge amounts of sick people coming every day to hospital and all needing care. And I'm scared about it, yeah.
And then I needed doing.
Daniel and Emma have 4 young kids at home.
GT every day.
Juggling work and home life means time is never on their side.
Are we 2 arms apart here?
But they believe when it comes to coronavirus,
Social distance.
Australia is lucky to have been able to see this disaster unfold overseas first, so our hospitals have time to prepare.
Overseas, you know, they were hit pretty, they were hit a bit blind, and I think we've got a lot of people, you know, I haven't seen coordination like this within a hospital, between hospitals, including with government bodies, that, you know, there's a very coordinated response, I think, which puts us in a pretty good position and certainly makes me feel better.
I'm just going to keep praying to God that it's not my time yet. Because I got things to do. I got things to do.
Tara Langston is one of the thousands of coronavirus patients in Europe to end up in ICU. And one of the lucky ones who's lived to tell the tale.
Oh my God, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, let alone an elderly person or a child, because it's like you have glass in your lungs. Every breath is like you have glass and, you know, you have no breath. You literally think you're going to die, or my thoughts were, okay, I'm going to need oxygen for the rest of my life.
It is so horrible.
Videos Tara took in her hospital bed ended up being shared to millions of people, with many surprised that someone so young could be hit so hard.
Be able to breathe.
Tell us a bit about you before the virus struck. Were you healthy? Were you active?
Yeah, you know what, I'm a mum of 2. I work hard, I'm always at the gym. I live a healthy, active lifestyle. So that was my life before I got sick.
Were you thinking, I'm in my 30s, I'm healthy, this isn't something that's going to affect me?
Yeah, totally. And also, I think as well with something like a virus, I know it's a crazy thing to say, but it's invisible. You can't see it. So it's almost like, you know, it doesn't exist. And I was quite blasé about it, yeah.
Are you glad to have Mummy home?
Tara is back home and her health is slowly returning. But there are now global concerns that up to 20% of coronavirus survivors may suffer lifelong complications.
You've studied the first wave of patients that have been discharged from COVID-19. From what you've been looking at, what's been the most surprising finding so far?
I think the lung function is one of the most surprising findings because this is obviously a lung disease. But according to the past experience from SARS, we did see some patients, around 10% to 20% of the patients may have their lung capacity affected in terms of the so-called restriction. The lung becomes stiff and difficult to breathe. So,
Dr. Owen Sangyak Tin is the medical director of Hong Kong's Infectious Diseases Centre. Notably, he also believes that the more you weigh, the higher your risk when it comes to COVID-19.
Yeah, obesity is one of the risk factors. The obesity is one of the risk factors for deteriorations after the infections. And we also have 2 patients and now in ICU because they have significant obesity. So obesity is one of them.
So you're saying if you do get coronavirus and you're obese, that's bad news?
Yes.
There's so many unknowns still. Really, coronavirus in itself is such an unknown. So there's still a few more checkpoints to pass before I can be completely hooray out of here.
One of those unknowns is what impact, if any, the virus has had on Sally Hawatch's unborn child. But late this week, some good news. She was told she's no longer contagious and finally allowed to see her son again. This reunion was a rare ray of sunshine at such a grim time in our history, because after weeks of watching the coronavirus tsunami hit hospitals overseas, this week it feels like those waves will really start hitting Australian shores.
What do you think Australians need to know about coronavirus?
Oh my God, the same thing that the Brits need to know, the same thing that every country needs to know. So I would say to people who are thinking of just being blasé, the way that my mindset was at the beginning, it's like, take it more seriously. Because if you get it and you get it bad, it will be one of the most traumatic experiences of your life if you survive it.
Hello, I'm Sarah Abo. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.